2.5 on track, and Tin Soldier 7 into 11 to 2, and Peregrine Run as well 7 into from 8 to 1. Significant moves for those top three in the market. And remember, Tombstone fourth behind a champion.
Horse, but this is the toughest, tightest, most competitive race a jockey can ride, and you need a lot of luck here. Brian Cooper might not see a lot of hurdles in the way around.
Who wins then, chaps? AP first?
You can't tip in another Tombstone. He could be a grade 1 horse running a handicap.
Mr. Miyagi for me.
Brian?
Tombstone, but yet Gordon Elliott, when speaking to Alice at the top of the programme, said cause of cause was his better today. So if this horse is a good thing, and Gordon didn't nap it, it's 7 to 2. There's lots of confidence AP by Tin Soldier. 5 to 1.
Yeah, Ruby fancied him, and there's no doubt that they could do it a winner. It would help before Duvan, that's for sure.
What about the bigger price of the Irish, Brian?
Supasundae each way. I disagree with Luke. I think the son of Galileo, I think he'll appreciate the drying ground. I expect an improved performance from Supasundae each way, 16 to 1.
And from what you're saying, AP, this is a real tough one for the jockeys, a brutal contest. You can see them circling around here, all jostling for position already.
Ed, you could go 3 or 4 or 5 abreast in front of you, and you're in behind that first group. You might not see a hurdle. I went around here a few times to get me out here, and thankfully he was a brilliant jumper. But I never saw a hurdle until the second last few times.
You wouldn't see the hurdle, literally.
You might not see it because you'll be so tight and so close up to the ones behind you. If you get behind the first bank of 4, 5, 6, you might not see anything.
You have to be so careful in these sort of situations, Ed, as well, because they'll hear a clattering of a hurdle, and sometimes the horse will just come up because they think there's a hurdle coming.
And you need a very streetwise horse.
What a beautiful shot that is. The runners for the Coral Cup in the foreground, just look at the packed stands in the background. Who do you fancy in the Coral Cup, Richard Hoyles?
Might be a beautiful sight for you, Ed, but 25
lads,
is not the best sight from my point of view. Mr. Miyagi's lowered back a little bit.
Everybody get on the course.
They're quite well off the saves.
Take it easy. Take it easy on the outside. They're tight on the inside. Wait.
Starter issuing instructions, and he lets them go. They start in the centre of the racecourse, Hawkeye, and one of the McManus runners, River Frost, in the red cap with Supasundae, moving towards the first. Thomas Hobson is also front rank as they all step over it. They all get to the other side safely. Albach de Plas made a slight mistake in midfield. Thomas Hobson leaving Who Dares Wins on the run towards the second. Hawkeye in company with River Frost. Towards the outside, pulling the way up is Bravissimo, as well with Supasundae and the Romford Pele as they rise at the second. The 2 Ritchie horses out in front. Leon Carvalho pecked in midfield, and Waxy's Dargle was also just made a slight mistake towards the inner. Now a chance just to gather their breath as Thomas Hobson out in front in the pink cap, attended by the grey and the green cap, Bravissimo for Katie Walsh and the 2 Lock Horns. Hawkeye races in third place on the inside of Supasundae. Who Dares Wins is also in that cluster with River Frost. Taquin de Seuil is a little wide round this first bend, racing on the outside of Shore Reef and Robbins Hill in the orange colours. Still racing just worse than midfield at the moment is Modus on the outside of stable companion Old Guard. Automated is towards the inside, tracking Peregrine Run at this stage. Still just worse than midfield we have the likes of Tombstone, the white sheepskin noseband alongside the grey Hargam, then Monksland in company with Mr. Miyagi as the leader Bravissimo sets sail over flight number 3. Towards the back of the field, Score Ma made a slight mistake, and Morello Morale is also towards the rear of the field with Calondra. So making their way up the home straight for this first time, and Bravissimo out in front has pulled his way to a clear lead. Over in second, Thomas Hodson, then Who Dares Wins and Hawkeye with Supasundae racing on the outside of Shore Reef in the halves of beige and black. Taquin de Seuil alongside the Romford Pele. River Frost has drifted back to midfield alongside Robbins Hill. Modus wide on the course in company as well with Old Guard. Then Monksland Peregrine Run. Automated racing on the outside of the blue cap of Waxy's Dargle. Mr. Miyagi Hargam still held up his Tin Soldier in the green and white colours with about 3 behind. Albach de Plas, Morello Royale at Seuil. So they all step over that flight of hurdles, and they're perfectly okay over that. And the grey Bravissimo giving Katie Walsh a nice ride out in front, leading by about 3 or 4 lengths from Thomas Hodson, racing on the outside of Hawkeye. Who Dares Wins comes next with Supasundae on the inside of Taquin de Seuil. Behind these is Shore Reef, midfield for the Romford Palais, racing on the outside of River Frost as they make the turn away from the stands. A Peregrine Run's taken the shorter route. Modus is towards the outside of the field, still in company with Old Guard as they turn away. Still held up, Tombstone has about 7 or 8 behind with Automated. Tin Soldier's one of those at the rear group, in company with Waxy Stargle, Colondra, Albac de Place towards the rear as well, with Morello Royale as they make their way towards the first of the 2 flights down the side of the racecourse. Bravissimo just put the brakes on slightly there, and as a result isn't so far clear. Once again they're all over it. Albac de Place was the last to rise. So out in front it is Bravissimo who leads Thomas Hodson. Who Dares Wins, and then towards the inside Hawkeye. Supasundae with a nice spot just ahead of Shore Reef as they continue their progress on towards the next. Taquin de Seuil with Modus Old Guard still charting that wide course with River Frost. Then Peregrine Run. Tombstone still being ridden patiently as Thomas Hodson and the Romford Palais both made mistakes over that flight of hurdles. And still Albac de Place, despite being the back marker with the likes of Seuil, just preceded by Hargan, Morello Royale and the Romford Palais, who shuffle back to the rear. But they're still pretty tightly grouped here. All 25 still standing. The Romford Palais being ridden along at the rear of the field, the only one in significant trouble, and this is 4 from the finish. Bravissimo it was who stepped over it in front. Little change in the play. Hawkeye on the inside of Thomas Hodson. Then racing in 4th place, Who Dares Wins, Supasundae. Here a few jockeys calling for room there. Peregrine Run and also Shore Reef had a coming together. Taquin de Seuil towards the outside. Modus travelling up quite strongly. The red cap of River Frost trying to get back in it. Still Tombstone is ridden patiently here by Brian Cooper. Still has about 7 behind as they run downhill towards the 3rd last. Thomas Hodson moving back up to have a crack here at Bravissimo. Towards the outside, Who Dares Wins, Taquin de Seuil and Modus, but there are still a lot of chances. Peregrine Run, Supasundae, Monksland trying to make some ground. Tombstone with work to do now, being pushed along, has a head to one side, not looking overly comfortable, still with ground to make up as they head down towards the 2nd last. Who Dares Wins, Modus, Taquin de Seuil, Supasundae, Old Guard, River Frost. Monksland in the pink colours is trying to improve as well. Then Hawkeye, Mr Miyagi from a long way back, Automated likewise as they make the turn for home. Supasundae on the inside alongside Who Dares Wins, Taquin de Seuil, Monksland. Then behind these Modus, Old Guard from a long way back. Tin Soldier down the outside in green and white colours. Then Mr Miyagi and Peregrine Run. This is the last in the Coral Cup. It's Supasundae out by 3 lengths. Taquin de Seuil over on the far side is trying to give chase. Then Who Dares Wins, Monksland, Modus and Old Guard. But it's Supasundae for Robbie Power and Jesse Harrington up towards the line. Supasundae won the Coral Cup from Taquin de Seuil. Who Dares Wins. In 4th place, Monksland from a mile back. Seuil came through to finish in 5th. Then behind these was Tin Soldier, Modus, Old Guard, River Frost, Colondra next, Peregrine Run all the way back to the likes of Hawkeye and Tombstone, who never showed. So it was the supreme form that was franked, but it was not with Tombstone, but instead Supasundae, a winner for Jesse Harrington and Robbie Power, beating Taquin de Seuil in this year's Coral Cup.